When the video jump scares Sarah, the light from the TV enters her eye through the cornea, which is the outer layer of the eye that helps bend the light. Then the light enters the pupil through the iris, which is the color portion of the eye that prevents excess light from reaching the retina. The light that gets through the iris is focused by the lens into the retina, where it is turned into electrical signals by photoreceptors. The electrical signals then travel through the optic nerve, where they are interpreted as what she sees. The electrical signals from the eye arrive in the brain's occipital lobe, which is the visual processing hub of the brain. In the primary and secondary occipital cortices, the signals are interpreted into information that your brain can use, including shapes, colors, and sizes you see, and how far away they are from you. They also allow you to recognize things you see, like the faces of people you know. At about the same time, your ears detect sound by the vibrating of your eardrum. Then this sound reaches the ossicles, which are some of the smallest bones in the body. Their job is to amplify the sound through the eustachian tube into the inner ear of the organ called the cochlea. This is where microhairs vibrate. This is the main way sound is translated to the brain. This information is sent to the temporal lobe, where it's processed into meaning. In the brain, info from the occipital and temporal lobes enter the thalamus. The thalamus is a hub of the brain where info is distributed via neurons. Neurons communicate through chemical and electrical gradients. The first step is when the dendrite of the neuron receives a signal. This is sent down the long portion of the neuron called the axon. It is covered in an insulating material called myosin sheets. Once the electrical signal reaches the end of the axon, called a synapse, neurotransmitters pass through the synaptic gap to the next neuron, where it binds to receptors, and the process repeats down the next neuron on and on until it reaches a muscle or whatever it's trying to enact. For example, the sudden sound of the jump scare starts a panic response activated by the amygdala and the hippocampus, which is the area of the brain that controls the autonomic nervous system. The amygdala sends signals throughout the autonomic nerves to activate the fight or flight response. The fight or flight response is an evolutionary adaptation that developed over millions of years in response to survival challenges faced by our ancestors. Early humans and their predecessors encountered frequent threats from predators and hostile environments, making it crucial to have rapid and effective response to danger. Natural selection favored individuals who exhibited heightened physiological and behavioral responses when confronted with said danger. This led to the development and autonomic nervous system's sympathetic branch, which triggers the fight or flight response. Through generations and genetic physiological adaptations ensured that humans could react swiftly and decisively when confronted with potential threats, enhancing their chances of survival and reproduction. After the initial burst of energy from epinephrine, the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal HPA axis, another part of the sympathetic nervous system, continues the stress response by releasing cortico-releasing hormone, also known as CHR. This travels from the hypothalamus to the pituitary glands, causing them to release adrenocortico hormone. This hormone in turn travels to the adrenal glands and causes them to release cortisol, a hormone that keeps the body in high alert mode that helps us survive. This activation is controlled by part of the autonomic nervous system called the sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system puts epinephrine, commonly known as adrenaline, into the bloodstream. Epinephrine causes the eyes to dilate, the heart and lungs to work more quickly to supply oxygen, and releases glucose and fats for a burst of energy. All these allow muscles to move faster and stronger, and the brain to think clearly so that you can survive a dangerous situation. When epinephrine is released into the bloodstream, it also overrides the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for relaxing and resting the body. This can cause the bladder to flex and makes you pee yourself involuntarily in a stressful situation. On the other hand, the sympathetic nervous system controls tiny muscles connected to your body hair, which tighten when frightened. This is called the papillary reflex, also known commonly as goosebumps. When taking a look at muscle on the microscopic level, you see segments called sarcomeres stacked on top of one another. Sarcomeres are made of actin, a thin, and myosin, a thick filament. When the brain sends signals to muscles to contract, there is a high concentration of calcium, which allows the myosin to bind to actin. Myosin uses ATP to pull on actin, which shortens the whole sarcomere. Then together, when all sarcomeres shorten together, it causes the contraction of the muscle. As you can see, Sarah is practicing deep breathing, which activates the parasympathetic nervous system in the brainstem. It stops the fight or flight hormone cascade, which brings the body back to homeostasis.